even with all of this back here, I still bought more yarn. So I'm super excited to let you all know that I just signed up for my first knit along. It's hard to believe that I've never participated in one before. So the one that I am participating in is the Maple Shade Tea Knit Along that was designed by Sloan Rosenthal. I saw the post from one of my local yarn shops on Ravelry stating that they were going to be running a knit along. And when I looked at the images for the pattern, I just fell in love. I knew I had to knit that. I was unsure if I was going to be a little bit out of my element, so I bought the pattern, and in reviewing it, it said that it was for the adventuresome beginner, and I think that I fall within that label. All you need to know is how to knit, purl, increase and decrease, which I know how to do all 4 of those. So I think I'm going to be okay. There's going to be a couple of new skill sets that I'm going to be adding on to my toolbox with this project. The first one is going to be how to construct a garment. I've never constructed a garment before. Most of my knitting, so when I am knitting, I usually get drawn to hats, scarves, cowls. So those are the projects that I've mostly knitted in the past, and I've never knitted a garment before. The other new skill set that I'm going to be learning is how to cable. I've never cabled before, and this pattern requires a little bit of cabling on the sides of the tee. So I think this is a perfect introduction to cabling for a brand new beginner. So the knit along is going to be at one of my local yarn shops, and it's going to be once a week that we're meeting from July 10th through August 14. And this is going to give me 6 weeks to be able to complete this project. I hope it's doable. I've never knitted a garment before, so I don't know if that's a long time, if that's enough time. So we'll see how I do with the time frame. So the goal for today was to try and find yarn that would go with this project. I was thinking of sticking with the recommended fiber base that was originally knitted in the project. The Maple Shade Tea was originally knitted in the Fiber Company's Luma base, which is 50% merino, 25% cotton, 15% linen, and 10% silk. And I've never knitted with that type of yarn before. Most of my projects have usually been an animal-based yarn. So this would be the first time where I'm going into exploring a little bit more of a mixture. I have 2 local yarn shops that are within 30 minutes from where I live. So I decided to go to the first one that I knew had this base, to see if I liked the yarn, to see if I liked the feel of the yarn, and to see if they had any colors that spoke to me. Unfortunately, when I got there, I was able to find the Luma base, but it really didn't speak to me. I was a bit disappointed because I wanted to follow exactly the same recommendations with yarn as the designer had, but I just did not get to see a color that really inspired me. So I decided to go to the next yarn shop. And in the next yarn shop, I knew that there was not going to be the Fiber Company's Luma base. So I approached one of the employees at this yarn shop so that they could hopefully help me select a yarn for my new project. So she first showed me some animal-based yarns. And although I was really attracted to them, beautiful colors, great feel, they were merino wool, they were a bit expensive, and I knew I wanted to try and stay as true to the recommendations from the designer as possible, especially since this is a tee and it's going to be worn in the summer. I really didn't want to be wearing any wool that was going to be too warm. So I decided to be a little bit more adventuresome and take a look at the plant-based fibers. She did show me one that it was a mixture of wool and cotton, and although it felt good and I liked that yarn, it just did not have the colors that spoke to me. So most of the colors, actually all the colors they had, were very pastel in color base, and I'm more of a jewel tone person. So finally she showed me a yarn base that I actually liked. I was surprised. It is a bamboo cotton blend, and I know I have worked with linen before, and I don't really like the feel of linen, and so this bamboo cotton blend seems to be a little bit softer than the roughness of the linen. So the yarn that intrigued me was this universal yarn bamboo pop, and it's in the midnight blue colorway. So I fell in love with this color. It looks like it's a tanzanite color, so it's got those jewel tones that I really like. And the feeling is very soft DK weight. So I anticipate that this is going to knit up really nicely in the maple shade tea. So since I was there, I decided to look around in the shop, and something else caught my eye. This particular yarn was crocheted up in a sample that I just fell in love with. So the yarn that I saw was the Whimsical Color Silky Merino Light. That's 50% merino and 50% silk in the bronze statue colorway. So it was crocheted up in the dragon's belly shawl, and I fell in love with that shawl when I put it on. I didn't think that yellow was going to look good against my skin tone, but once I tried on the shawl, it was a perfect fit. So I couldn't leave the skein behind. I had to bring it home with me, and I've mentally already cast it on. So the other thing that caught my attention was the Pom Pom magazine from the summer 2019, so from this quarter. And I know I've been eyeing a couple of the patterns that are in this publication through Ravelry, and it wasn't until I was in the shop and I opened up this magazine, it was a no-brainer. I had to get this. So out of the 9 patterns, I want to knit up 8 of them. So this tells you how good this publication really is for this quarter. So I will hopefully be able to show you what I cast on from this magazine in the future. Thank you for stopping by, and see you next time.